Hello, everyone, and welcome to another book review in Alex's reading room. Today, we are going to review The Romance of the Three Kingdoms by, this is going to be hard for me to pronounce, Luo Guanzhong. I hope I said that right, but I'm very confident I did not. This is a very interesting book. I really wanted to read this just because I knew that it was a classic in Chinese literature. And so I got it. The cover features one of the main characters, Guan Yu. And let's get into the basic facts about this. Let me find out where we are here. So this version of the book, I'm very confident there are many, many, many versions of this book. But this particular version is 613 pages. This is a long book. This took me, I believe, a month and a half to read. And I was reading it pretty hardcore. Nowadays, I just basically read a little bit, every time I go to sleep. But I was reading this every day, and I was reading a lot of it. And even with the 600 pages, I mean, the text on these pages is just super tiny. It's crazy. But so this age rating, I have to say, look, this is my best guess because there's so much stuff that happens in this book, and this is the best that I remember it, but I may be wrong about a few of these things. But what I have is the following. I have a 0 in sexuality, I have a 0 in language, a 0 in substance, although I would not be surprised if there's some tobacco or alcohol in this, but I don't remember any in particular. I put a 1 for death and injury, and I almost feel like even there's definitely like violence in this book, but I almost feel like because of the way that it's written, it almost doesn't really feel like so severe. There is a part in the beginning of the book where a character named Dongzuo is known for being very brutal, but it just kind of says like, oh, he's known for, for example, like, oh, cutting people's heads off or something like that. Which is, yeah, definitely something that warrants a 1 at least, right? There's some violence. There's a lot of violence in this book, actually. I almost feel like maybe I misrated this. Maybe it should be a 2. But either way, it is a 1 out of 1 in the advanced category, super advanced. And I definitely think that it's going to be it's a serious challenge to read and keep track of all the stuff that happens in this book. A lot of people say that if you want to fully understand the story, you actually have to read it multiple times, just because there are so many characters, so many different things that happen. But I give this book an overall age rating of 9. Now, solid case to be made for it being a 12. But I went with 9 because overall, even with the violence, I don't feel like the violence is described in such a severe way as to warrant a higher age rating. My critique rating on this book is an 8 out of 10. And I have to say, I greatly enjoyed this book. I really did enjoy it. Part of the time I felt like I didn't know what was going on, but you know what? I enjoyed it anyway. All right. It was very fun to read, but it was very advanced, and it was very difficult at sometimes. And I had a goal of reading like 15 pages a day, but wow, was that hard to make. It almost read like a textbook. It's very dense with information. Just to give an example, and we're back. So my webcam randomly froze, and I had to fix it. So I'm not going to read a sample before the spoiler section, but I am going to go into the spoiler section right now. So, spoiler alert for those that have not read this book. That being said, let's get into a short sample of the book, the reading. Let's see if I can. All right. I'm going to be mispronouncing these names, so get ready. Xuan de clashes with Yuan Shu's forces and utterly routs them. As a result, a short time after that, Yuan Shu is deserted by many of his men and cut off from any possibility of further support. With less than 1,000 soldiers left, he is attacked by bandits, abandoned with almost no food, and with many, including members of his family, dying of starvation. Yuan Shu could not be in a more desperate state. Everything has failed. There is no hope left. Unable to eat the coarse food that is all that is left, he asks for some warm water with honey to ease the dryness of his throat. On being told there is none, he collapses and dies. It is the year AD 199. Later, someone wrote this poem, and it has like a whole poem about him. So, like I said, it almost reads like a textbook at points. It's very challenging to read. It's a very challenging book. It follows mostly the story of like the dying Han Dynasty, and the what they call the Shu Han Dynasty, or the Shu Han, and it follows mainly these three characters, three protagonists, which are Liu Bei, Zhang Feng, I don't remember if that's right, and Guan Yu. They're known for three different things. I think Zhang Fei, I think is what his name is. Zhang Fei is like super, like violent, very angry, but powerful to back it up. Guan Yu is known for being like a very skilled tactician and a very skilled military leader. And Liu Bei is the leader. He's got very strong leadership skills, and he's basically the quote emperor of the dying Han Dynasty. The main antagonist of the book is a man by the name of Cao Cao. And most of the story follows these four characters and how they are trying to destroy each other. The protagonist trying to kill Cao Cao and restore the Han Dynasty, and Cao Cao trying to establish a new dynasty. And at a certain point, there's a third one that breaks off, and they're all three fighting, and at the end of it all, a fourth one is victorious and destroys all three of them. And it's like 2 generations after Liu Bei and Cao Cao. I think it's like 1 or 2 generations. But it's just, there's so much in this book that happens. There's some very interesting things. Like there's a part where like this Taoist monk like causes a thunderstorm and just like I don't know, it's crazy what he does. But then there's a moment where like this guy is watching 2 immortals playing chess in the clouds, and then they both turn into birds and fly away or something. It's crazy. The iconic moment that I would say is the most iconic moment from this book is the peach orchard oath or pledge or something like that. And basically, the 3 protagonists, Liu Bei, Zhang Fei, and Guan Yu, meet in this peach orchard one time, and they all pledge their lives toward restoring the Han Dynasty. And they basically say, okay, we're all going to die on the same day, so we don't have to be without each other, and we're all going to work together, and you know, it's just like it's a lifetime oath of friendship, but also their commitment to the Han Dynasty. And of course, ultimately, they were unsuccessful, because as we know, the Han Dynasty is no longer in power, at least today, so at some point they failed. But that's basically all I have to say about it. There's so much to read in this book. If you really want an advanced read and you want to dig into this Chinese classic, I would say go for it. You'll probably enjoy it. If you're definitely looking for a book to relax to, this might not be your kind of book. It's very advanced, very complicated. But personally, I enjoyed it. That will conclude this book review of The Romance of the Three Kingdoms. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more, because I got some more coming out as we speak. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next book review.